The apartment was a suffocating void, its silence pressing against my skull like a slow, merciless vice. Only the faint, erratic hum of the radiator in the corner and the distant wail of a siren slicing through the night punctuated the heavy stillness. I stood by the window, arms wrapped around myself, staring down at the rain-slicked street below. Streetlights shimmered off the wet asphalt, brief shadows of late-night wanderers flickering past. My reflection hovered in the glass, a pale ghost with hollow eyes and restless thoughts. Jack, my boyfriend, was gone again. Another night out with the guys, he'd said, his voice too smooth, his kiss too quick and detached as he snatched his jacket and disappeared into the night. I'd stopped counting the lies months ago. Their sharp edges had dulled with repetition, but they still carved into me, a slow, quiet wound I'd learned to endure. But tonight, something cracked. A message had flashed across my phone 20 minutes ago, stark and unyielding. Jack's not who you think. Meet me at Corner Tap, now. Liam. My heart lurched. Liam, Jack's older brother, the man I had loved once. The one who vanished after our messy, gut-wrenching breakup, leaving me raw, reeling, and drowning in unanswered questions. The past surged through me in a rush of heat, regret, and memories that never fully faded. Why now? Why, after all this? Time? He had sworn to hate me, promised he'd never look back. And yet, here he was, reaching out. What did he know about Jack? Old memories clawed their way to the surface. Liam's fierce gaze, the way he could set my world ablaze with a single glance, the fights that left us both bruised, the deafening silence after he walked away. But this wasn't about nostalgia. This was about Jack. About the lies I had swallowed whole. The nights spent pacing this apartment, pretending I didn't smell unfamiliar perfume on his clothes, didn't notice the way he avoided my eyes. What if Liam was lying? What if this was some twisted revenge, luring me back into his orbit just to hurt me again? My mind warred against itself. Don't do this, Emily. He's trouble. You know he is. You've been burned before. And yet, my fingers moved, trembling, as I typed back, "I'm coming." His reply was immediate. "Hurry." I grabbed my coat, the wool rough beneath my shaking hands, slipped into my boots, and stepped out into the rain. The cold bit at my skin as my thoughts tangled into knots. This is insane. I should stay, let it go, but I couldn't. I needed to know. The Corner Tap was a battered, forgotten relic nestled in the grime of downtown, its weathered brick facade scarred by time. A faded sign swayed above the door, its neon letters flickering uncertainly. Corap. The missing letters swallowed by neglect. I hesitated outside, rain dripping from my hood, my hair plastered to my cheeks. The streetlights painted the puddles at my feet in a sickly yellow glow. Last chance, Emily. Walk away. Through the grimy windows, I could see the dim pulse of light inside, shadows shifting in the haze. The muffled thump of music bled into the night. My stomach twisted. He's in there, waiting, and I'm walking straight into something I can't predict. But my feet carried me forward. I needed to face the truth, or maybe just to face him again. The moment I stepped inside, the air hit me like a punch. Stale cigarette smoke curling thick in the dim light, the sharp bite of spilled whiskey hanging in the air. Low voices murmured, like a living thing beneath the music. The bar was a dive. Cracked mirrors reflecting fragmented faces, tables sticky with rings of forgotten drinks, initials and burn marks scarred into the wood. A jukebox coughed out a warped rock song. Near. The bar, a group of bikers laughed loudly, the scent of leather and beer surrounding them. A woman with smeared lipstick leaned into one of them, giggling. The bartender, a man whose face looked as worn as the place itself, polished a glass with a rag that had seen better days. He barely glanced up. I scanned the room, pulse hammering. Where is he? Did he set me up? And then I saw him. Liam sat alone at a corner table, a half-empty beer bottle sweating in front of him. The dim light caught the amber liquid inside, casting shadows across the scarred wood. He was broader now, his frame filling the chair. His dark hair, longer than I remembered, curled slightly at the nape of his neck, damp from the rain. A black leather jacket stretched over his shoulders, worn and scuffed. His face was sharper, hardened by time, a strong jaw rough with stubble, scars mapped across his knuckles, souvenirs from fights he never lost. Exhaustion, or maybe regret, etched faint lines around his mouth. But his green eyes, they were the same, piercing, restless, locking onto me the second I stepped into his line of sight, cutting through the smoky haze with an intensity that made my breath catch. He hasn't changed. Not really. He didn't stand, just leaned back, one arm draped lazily over the back of his chair, fingers tapping a slow, deliberate rhythm against the table. A smirk ghosted across his lips. The same damn smirk that always meant trouble. He was waiting. Baiting me, just like before. I slid into the seat across from him, the chair groaning under me. My hands clenched in my lap, nails pressing into my palms. Stay steady, Emily. Don't let him see you flinch. He's always known how to push you. The air between us was thick, electric. His jacket creaked as he shifted, the scent of rain and tobacco clinging to him, laced with something sharper, motor oil maybe. He still smells the same. Damn him! Emily. My name, rough on his tongue, sent a shiver down my spine. His voice was low, edged with something unspoken, something dangerous. He was doing it on purpose. He knew what it did to me. It's been a while. I swallowed, hard. My throat was dry despite the rain clinging to my skin. Don't let him get under your skin, not again. I forced my voice steady. What's this about, Liam? Straight to the point. No games, but he just watched me, that damn smirk deepening. And I knew, in that moment, that I was in over my head. He took a slow sip of his beer, the bottle clinking softly against the table as he set it down. His eyes never left mine, narrowing, slightly. The smirk he wore just moments ago faded, something colder, harder taking its place. He wasn't playing. Not entirely. Jack's screwing around, Liam said, blunt and unapologetic. His voice cut through the bar's noise like a blade. Some chick he met at work, caught them at his place tonight, going at it on the couch like they owned it. He slid, his phone across the table. The scratched wood scraped under it. A single tap and the screen lit up. There it was, Jack, shirtless, tangled with a woman on his ratty gray couch. Her dark hair spilled over his shoulder, their bodies pressed close. The timestamp glared in the corner. 2 hours ago, my chest caved. In. A sharp pang sliced through me, cold and bitter. But beneath it, something else stirred. Anger. Yes. But also something older, something tangled with Liam. It twisted deep inside me, coiling tight. He brought me here for this. To shove it in my face. Why tell me? I whispered, voice trembling. My hands gripped the edge of the table, nails digging into the wood, fighting the shake threatening to spill over. Why drag me back, Liam? Is this revenge? Rubbing salt in old wounds? His green eyes locked onto mine, sharp and unyielding. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, his leather jacket creaking as he moved. Close. Too close. Because you're still picking them, he said. His voice was rough, raw, laced with something that wasn't just anger. It was something like hurt. He wasn't over it, not even close. Maybe I'm tired of watching you crash and burn with guys like him. His jaw tensed. Like me. His hand brushed mine, deliberate, firm, a touch that sent a shock through me, electric, searing, igniting a flush across my skin. He's pulling me in again. The back room's quiet, he murmured, his breath warm against my ear. We can talk. Or, whatever you decide. The air crackled between us. The weight of his words settled, heavy and hot. He was baiting me. Same old Liam, and God help me. I wanted to take the bait. The back room. The room was dim, claustrophobic. Bare brick walls stained with years of smoke and neglect. A single flickering bulb cast jagged shadows across the scuffed floor. The air was thick, dust, spilled liquor, and the faint scent of rain seeping through a cracked window. It was a hole. Just like us. Liam shut the door. The lock clicked, the sound echoing like a gunshot. He turned to me, green eyes dark with intent, a storm brewing. His leather jacket creaked as he stepped closer, closing the distance. He wasn't stopping. He wasn't slowing down. His hands found my waist, fingers pressing through my coat with quiet, unshakable strength. My knees buckled. My skin prickled, with heat. "Say stop," he murmured, his lips brushing my jaw, voice a low growl. Rough, urgent. Say no. Push me away. He was giving me an out, a choice, but I didn't take it. Instead, I tilted my head, the door I'd sworn to keep shut cracking open again, and then, his mouth claimed mine, fierce, possessive, like he'd been starving for this. My hands fumbled against his jacket, gripping worn leather, feeling the hard lines of his chest beneath. He guided me back, his steps slow, certain. The couch hit the back of my knees and I fell onto it. Rough fabric scraped my thighs. He followed. His weight pressed me down. A solid force. Everywhere. His lips moved down my throat, lingering, tasting. A roughness that sent a moan slipping past my lips. Raw, unbidden. "You're shaking," he teased, voice thick with satisfaction. "So are you," I whispered back. The door shut behind him, and I sat there, breathless, broken, and burning, because this time Liam was the one who left.